them to help in that process because with various platforms like this, where you're able to tap into a larger network of alumni, it will greatly help your journey along the way. And I can say that because also, like my colleagues at Clark Atlanta, I also work in alumni relations. And so we are also trying to figure out how do we connect and engage in this particular space, and particularly how can we help be a pathway for alumni to utilize the group that we already have established to help them where their next part of their career may take them.
I really like that. The DNA method, the acronym that you were just stating about, that would definitely be something that we could push forward, to our students and alumni, because, it's interesting enough to say that a lot of students and even our alums don't really understand the power, to network and to keep your LinkedIn updated, especially during this pandemic, right now, because while jobs are frozen and while everything is on hold, the key right now to keep yourself relevant and to keep yourself in the conversation of all is to network and to keep yourself updated. So thank you for that DNA method. Now, in order for us to apply that, how can our audience apply your tips that you just talked about to network while social distancing measures are in place? So what are some key things that they can do on LinkedIn in order to apply that method?
Right. So I would say some key methods that you could take for sure would be to update your skills. LinkedIn has a very powerful and robust library of e-learning opportunities. So that will be one way I would say. Also, connect and see if there's webinars, if there is any kind of virtual events that are being taken place either in the area that you live in, or that you could also be taking place in. I know since I have had opportunity, I've attended at least 2 different conferences, and also a webinar, or if not more than one a month. And then also check out if there are any podcasts, but anything that will allow you to consume information that will help you along the path that you're trying to take. And then going back to LinkedIn, this is an opportunity that not only keeping your LinkedIn up to date, but if you are in the market for a job, it might be worth paying the premium cost for a month or so to allow yourself to connect with individuals that may be outside of your network, to connect with other recruiters and or job spaces that are also looking for job or for opportunities, although we might be frozen. And then I think the last piece in terms of social distancing is really looking at your larger network, and particularly it doesn't have to be within LinkedIn, but start sending out emails. Just can I set up an informational conversation with you? Can we connect via Instagram? Don't be afraid, although this is taboo, to slide into someone's DM, right? If there's someone that you don't know, right, and you are trying to get where they're trying to go, you need to be able to have the courage. And again, to that last piece, the ask part, because we can have all the other parts, but you got to ask, and then you got to do the work. And so that piece, although we're in COVID, it costs nothing to send an email. It costs nothing to promote your friends. It costs nothing to actually do the work. All it does is take a little bit of time, some energy, and some effort, right? And so if you can put those things into reaching out to someone that may not even be someone you actually know, you don't know what power that holds. And so that's how I think you can utilize these key things. Although we are in COVID, it will not stop you from propelling to that next step.
Exactly. I mean, I with LinkedIn, it's been very, very instrumental over these past couple of months because they are offering so many new certifications and e-learning trainings and webinars that used to cost like hundreds of dollars.
Right.
Now they're free, or they're like $25, $10, for you to get like a little certification, and that not only will look good on your resume, but it'll also, you know, like you said, propel you to that next level to network. And I think that, you know, stalking the DMs for a career up change or networking, that might be a good topic for the next time.
Also, before I leave, invest in yourself. You have the time right now. You have the space. A lot of us are working from home. You got to carve out some time that you can, you know, invest in yourself, whether that is personally, whether that is professionally. That's important. That's a key that I think we sometimes forget because we're in this moment and we're kind of consumed with everything else going on. This is the perfect time for you to also do that, to then move you to that next phase as well.
Thank you so much, Alumnus Moore, for the wonderful insight and information that you have provided. If you all, for those that are on the call today, that are on the webinar, if you have any questions for Alumnus Moore, please type them into the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel now. We will be sure to get to them during our Q&A session. Thank you again, Alumnus Moore. Wonderful job. Introducing our next panelist for this afternoon is alumna Kimberly Kistner. A game changer in the communications and change management world. Alumna Kistner is an innovative and creative professional with over 20 years of communications, marketing, and change management experience. She is a proven leader that can direct an organization in the visioning of a comprehensive communications and change plan. Alumna Kistner has a strong record of developing and implementing innovative and engagement communication strategies. She is a senior change manager at Intercontinental Hotel Group, known as IHG, a blogger and self-published author of the book, Laid Off But Not Laid Out, Tips for Surviving a Layoff, which is perfect right now for what's going on in this world today. Kistner is also the owner of her own home-based travel business with PlanNet Marketing. So without further ado, Alumna Kistner, thank you so much for being a part of this panel and for serving your alma mater today.
Thank you, Chastity. I'm so happy to be here. Although I don't know how I can follow Mr. Moore. He was fantastic. I'm like, well, did he see my notes? But you know, we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work.
Look,
so
he did that, didn't he? He really did.
He did. I feel like it should be over. We're done.
Drop his mic.
Boom.
So, Alumna Kistner, your first question for today: what is possible if we are planning to begin our career or make a career shift? What steps should we take to log in and level up?
Listen, you know, I think that first let's set the foundation. We all know that we are in a situation of change, and the change has disrupted all of our lives. Change is a disruption, whether it be good or bad. So I think for those of us that have just graduated from school, you probably thought pre-COVID, oh, I have my job, I'm ready, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Those of us that are looking for promotions or job change, oh, I'm just gonna go get this job somewhere else because the market is just flourishing. And then COVID happened. And so now it has completely changed everybody's personal and professional career goals. So it is very important to still stay engaged. I mean, Mr. Moore said a lot of the things that I was gonna say, but I think the one thing that's on your mind right now, if you are looking for a job and if you have a job and you're looking for a career change, is, are companies still hiring during this time? And the answer is absolutely, they are. The thing about it is companies are still hiring, but it might not look like it did before. So now companies are looking at hiring individuals to maybe work remote positions as opposed to coming into the office. And you want to keep in mind that, again, like I said, they are hiring, but you want to look for those companies that are actively hiring. So for example, you might not want to submit a job or submit an application for a hotel company because right now we're not hiring. That doesn't mean we're not going to hire in the future, but you want to look at industries that are actively hiring. So for example, Mr. Moore mentioned LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, when you're looking for particular jobs, they usually have some type of verbiage that says actively hiring. So those are the companies that you want to target. So do your research as far as what industries are hiring right now and kind of stay away from the ones that have been adversely impacted by COVID. I think another thing is during this time, you want to be able to lay the groundwork for your career path and your interests. And this is a perfect time, as Mr. Moore said, to do it. I would hope that in 2021, I know that's far away, but we hope that the employment rate will go up even higher. So this might be a good time to kind of look and see what other type of career opportunities or interests that you're in and just kind of set that groundwork right now.
Got it. Got it. So in terms of, setting that groundwork and, looking on LinkedIn for jobs that are actively hiring or have that verbiage to indicate that they're actively hiring, are there any advantages to conducting a job search in this current environment? I mean, especially with this change, because there are so many people now that are going to have to switch it up. They're going to have to update or learn a new skill set because jobs are still frozen or they've gone away for good. So I guess to say, how can we continue to remain engaged and to remain positive?
Right.
When things seem to not be on the place right now.
So the great thing is there's a benefit to looking for jobs and adding to your skill sets right now because everybody is basically at home. Their jobs may have changed. And so this is a perfect time. It's, for one thing, if you're at home already, it's easier to sneak in a phone call to someone that you're interested in as it relates to the industry they're in. It's easier to submit an application without having your boss looking over your shoulder because you're already at home. So it's really easy to do that. And so it's also a great time that while you're at home, let's say you wanted to get some type of certifications. Now, pre-COVID, when I was working at the hotel company, I was able to take advantage of opportunities such as Cornell University, and I got 2 different certifications. Take this time, as you said, a lot of these certifications now are a lot cheaper than they were before or even free. So this is perfect. Go ahead and log in and take some classes if you want to. Go back to school because they have online courses. Get that certification. If you are interested in like just things for fun, like I want to learn how to cook, there's cooking classes that you can do online. You can cook with you. I mean, I told my mom, listen, I don't know how to make some greens, but maybe we can do a FaceTime. You can teach me how to make some greens. I mean, there's opportunities for you to stay engaged and connected and up your skill sets. This is just perfect. And then also, if you're a type of person, not like me, of course, but if you're a type of person that doesn't like small talk, this is perfect for you. You can just pick up the phone and call someone. You don't have to actually see them. You shoot them an email. You want to be able to, as Mr. Moore mentioned, connect with your contacts. Maybe set up a virtual coffee or a lunch and learn. If you're not afraid to go outside, make sure you're outside, wear your mask, social distance, set up a coffee and talk to someone that's actually in that field. I've had several people reach out to me via LinkedIn saying, hey, Kim, I want to talk to you more about communications or what is change management? Would you mind setting up some time with me to talk? I mean, it's a great way to do that. So reach out to those individuals for those areas that you're interested in.
Well, can you also, before we move on to the next person, do you mind telling us about this upcoming book and where we can purchase it at? Because, those that are the inquiring minds, would like to support.
To know about it. Yeah, okay. So the book is Laid Off and Not Laid Out, Tips for Surviving a Layoff. I self-published that book back in 2010. And ironically, this is my 10-year anniversary. And so what I did is I'm refreshing the book. And so I'm re-editing it, adding some more information that's relevant to this time. And so I'm coming out with my 10th anniversary book somewhere around July, September timeframe, definitely before my birthday, and it'll be the 10-year anniversary edition. And so you can get it on Amazon, but again, that's the old version. I would prefer you have the newer version because it's more updated and it's got a lot of information, kind of like what I've been doing for the last 10 years, what I've learned throughout this whole process. And I got laid off even after I wrote the book. So it's a lot of great information. And so I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. Well, we cannot wait to support you. And of course, your Office of Alumni Relations will be promoting it. So
thank you.
So we look forward to it and we look forward to our copy. Wink, wink. Okay.
I got you. Signed and everything.
Well, thank you so much, Alumna Kistner, for the essential tips and materials. Everyone on the call or on the webinar, if you have any questions for Alumna Kistner, please type them into the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel now. We will be sure to get to them during our Q&A session. Thank you again, Alumna Kistner. Great job. All right, now, who's up next? Introducing our next panelist for this afternoon is alumnus Dwayne Celestin. Alumnus Celestin is a member of the Consumer and Industrial Practice Groups and the global leader of the Diversity Practice Group. Alumni Celestin has conducted searches across a range of firms and industries. That includes Fortune 500 firms and private equity-backed firms. His consultative approach and significant corporate leadership experience have helped clients refine their position specifications and better clarify the right candidate. Prior to recruiting, Alumni Celestin held senior marketing, sales, and general management positions in the US and UK for large firms in the consumer, industrial, and retail arenas. His experience includes roles of VP marketing and sales with a staff of nearly 100 professionals and budget of $100 million, and as a SVP of marketing for a $1 billion division. Importantly, during his career, he has reversed declining businesses and accelerated the growth of businesses in multiple roles. Alumni Celestin has published 3 books, including You're Hired, Actions to Get and Keep the Job You Love, and 5 Simple Steps to Achieving Your Dreams, and numerous articles regarding careers and business building. Alumni Celestin is a graduate of Loyola University and has an MBA from Atlanta University, class of 1982. He has done postgraduate work at both Cornell and Stanford universities. Lastly, he lives with his wife and 2 daughters in Hinesdale, Illinois. Thank you so much for being a part of this panel and for serving your alma mater today, Alumni Celestin. How are you?
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Great, great. We're glad to see your face.
It was a challenge, but we got there.
It's good. We got there, like you said. So your first question for today, are employers still interviewing candidates? And what should people be mindful of in a video interview that's different than an in-person interview?
Yeah, we can pop up the slides. I think this is definitely a time where companies are continuing to hire. I think it's not even, and it's not consistent across the industries. One of the things that I've seen and I project is from the next 12 to 18 months, each month will be better than the prior month. So there will be continuing improvements in the job front. But I've highlighted a few areas where I think the growth will be more rapid and broad, and a few areas where it will be more spotty and inconsistent. Tech, biopharma, and industrial companies, not just a particular role, but overall, I think will experience the most growth over the next coming months, and substantial growth, in fact. Those other areas, I think much of the work that they'll do will be in the mode of bringing back talent that was furloughed or laid off, as opposed to bringing in new and fresh talent. So while they will be better over time, I think in the short term, it will be more challenging in the areas in the red.
Awesome, okay.
One more slide, I think, regarding video interviewing. Next slide,
Okay.
please. And video interviewing is something we've been using. As an executive recruiter, we interview talent all the time for our clients. And video interviewing is not a new technique. It's something we've employed for a while because travel is expensive. So many clients had gone to this as a lower cost option and a faster option. And I think for those of you on this call, you will all be involved in some video interviewing. It may be 100%, but certainly in the earlier stages. And what I'd encourage you to do is practice a little bit to get your video and audio working. That certainly helps. I think dressing consistently with the role that you're pursuing. Some of the roles that you pursue will require more of a business casual look, but some are more formal. So I think approaching the video interview as you would a personal interview is the same approach. And from a preparation standpoint, I really encourage you to do as much homework as you can on the role and the organization. You want to just dig into their website. One of the things I do, I pitch a lot of companies, big, small, and in between. And for publicly traded companies, I go to their site and I go to the investment section. And I try to read their quarterly report because in many instances it's a PowerPoint. So it says everything about their business, what they're focused on, what's working, what's not, what the numbers are. And it really helps me understand where they are strong, weak, what they plan to do, and importantly, what the numbers are. And that leads to the last point for interviewing, regardless of whether it's video or otherwise. I encourage you to have 8 questions rank ordered.
Mm-hmm.
Rank ordered is because if you can only ask one question, what will it be? And invariably in your conversation, some of the questions you write down will be covered by your interviewer. So when they get to, well, what questions do you have? You don't want to ask question 7 when question 3 is still available. So that is incredibly important. And one thing I want to share with you, I had one client, and what she'd do is she'd have a chit chat with the client, with the interviewee, and then she'd say, what do you want to know? So if you didn't have enough questions prepared, you could ask foolish questions or you could ask really good questions. And by being prepared, and I had to prepare my candidates once I learned that was her approach, they did much better because they started off strong, and that led to really good conversation. But if you start off weak or you don't have good questions, it's likely that the interview will not go as you'd like.
Mm. I mean, I'm starting to see that a lot of the interview processes are starting to become more behavioral, though.
Yes.
So versus analytical. So, you know, I would definitely like for you to go more into detail, you know, regarding that for a lot of our students that may be on the call or that may be off the call, you know, that may need to know that, you know, there is a certain type of way that you need to project yourself and even answer the questions, you know, in terms of behavior analyses, because a lot of us don't know how to answer behavior questions because that's an assessment that we don't really go through while we're in college. But, you know, we'll save that for later.
Yes, because I do have some more on that.
Exactly, because I mean, that's good. They need to know that. But for now, though, is there a strategic value to go about searching for a career, especially in this new normal that we are calling the pandemic?
Yes, can you pull up the next slide, please? One of the things that, there are really 3 key ways to get your next role. There's networking, there are recruiters like myself, and then there's everything else. I'm not a big fan of the everything else category. Networking works most effectively. And I want to talk about that in the next slide. The other 2 panelists have done a very good job on it, but having changed jobs about 8 times in my career, some of those was because I had been fired, not because of inability to perform well, but it happens in business, particularly when you're trying to get to the next level. Sometimes it culturally doesn't work out. So I've had to employ this technique. And these 5 points, I think, can really help you. And they build on what some of the other panelists said, but this is what I really encourage people to do. First, when you define your area of interest, you need to be very tight, very focused. The more narrow the focus of your interest, the more effective it is for the listener. So saying, I want to get my next job, or I want an entry-level job is too broad. I want an entry-level job in a tech firm. And the more you can say a tech firm in a particular area, and a tech firm in their communications area, a tech firm in coding, or whatever the case might be. But the more narrow the focus, the easier it is for someone listening to say, oh, I know someone who can help you there. I know someone at this type of firm. Secondly, the target is really important. Target who you're trying to reach. I think sometimes this is underestimated. One, you need to think about people who have something in common with you. Someone who may be an alum, someone who has the same major, someone from the same state, any number of ways that you can look at it, the same major across different schools, but they've gone through your journey. So you want to target people who you have something in common with, because that's how you begin the conversation. Mm. And then you need a 2-minute elevator speech, and 2 minutes is key because it's got to be brief. It's who I am, what am I trying to do, and why me? And I think it's one of those things that I encourage people to write down and practice, because you never know when you need it. It truly could be in an elevator. It may be in a phone call, a video, but many times you finally get that executive you're trying to contact, say one of the panelists or some other panel that you've attended, and you're saying, you know, what are you trying to do? Boom, you want to be able to hit it. And last, even your siblings will only give you 1 or 2 names to contact. And having been in this game for a long time, I've given people, people to contact and they never call. So you say, why give them my whole Rolodex or my entire list of contacts when they aren't going to even follow up? So don't be disappointed if you only get 1 name or 1 suggestion. Let me back up. First, if you get no names, that means your networking skills need to be modified. You didn't get, that's your feedback loop. You got nothing. If they give you a recruiter, you got nothing. You can get a recruiter for free on Google or LinkedIn. So what you want is a specific name at a specific organization that can assist you. Then when you get that name, you follow up and you follow up quickly. And post that conversation, you go back to that person and share with them what happened, what were the next steps, and thank them for it. And guess what? Ask them for more, because everybody knows 100 people that could probably be important for you. But they aren't going to give you more than 1 or 2 until you prove and you earn the right to get more. And then the last slide, please. The positive part about this is if you touch more people, and I suggest you should touch and contact about 100 people a month. That's 5 people a day. And by contact, that means actually interact with them. Those contacts will lead to meetings. More meetings lead to more opportunities, and that's how you get success. If you follow this formula, I guarantee that you will have good outcomes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alumnus Celestin. Now, if anyone would like to purchase your books, where could they go to purchase and support you?
You know, if anybody wanted any of my books, they can just send me an email. I'll send it to you. The reason I've written books is it aids me in my ability to get clients. Mm-hmm. And I'll just give you a couple of numbers. I've probably spent about $8,000 in actually the process of writing and producing my books, but it's generated many times more business because of the books. In fact, my last book was all about the business I'm in, and I actually just give it away to clients because it's better than a business card. So if anybody's interested, I'm happy to make that happen.
All right, we're interested. Well, thank you so much for your best practices and your awareness. Everyone that's on the call and on the webinar, if you have any questions for Alumnus Celestin, please type them into the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel now. We'll be sure to get to them during our Q&A session. All right, now, last but not least, introducing our last panelist for this afternoon, Alumnus Devin White. Clark Atlanta University, class of 1995, 2000, and the National Alumni Association president for CAU. A native of Chicago, Illinois, Alumnus White earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Administration and a Master's degree in Library and Information Science from Clark Atlanta University. He began his career in the finance industry, working for the Monet, M-O-N-Y Group as an investment portfolio manager for several years. Following a successful tenure with the Monet, M-O-N-Y Group, Alumnus White worked for his alma mater, CAU, serving as the director of the Bishop L. Cornelius Henderson Student Center. Currently, Alumnus White serves as the CEO of the D. White Concepts, a corporation that focuses on event planning, fundraising, and leadership development. Alumnus White community and civic involvement activities include the High Aspirations Foundation, the United Way, Leadership Institute, National Youth Sports Association, National Kidney Foundation, United Negro College Fund, National Alumni Council, Association of Fundraising Professionals, and Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. He has also received numerous awards and recognitions for his service in higher education and the community, such as the UNCF National Advisor of the Year, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated Superior Service and Omega Man of the Year, UNCF Outstanding Young Alumni Award, Clark Atlanta University Alumni Association President's Award, and most recently, CAU Meritorious, how do you say it, Devin? Award for his creativity, service, and sustainability of scholarships for CAU. Alumnus White resides in Atlanta, Georgia with his wife, Alumna Joy White, and their son, Devin White Jr. Thank you so much, Alumnus White, for joining us today and for being a part of the panel and for serving your alma mater. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. So, Alumnus White, what can you relate to our audience? What used to be is no longer in the career exploration season. So what used to be is no longer here anymore.
Right. Well, now, we've now charted new territories, new waters as we face this quarantine. And so technology has played a very, very large role as it relates to communications. One of the things I talk about is what the traditional environment used to be versus what we'll call the new world order. Mm-hmm. And so those standard workout hours that you've pretty much are used to being predictable, work-life imbalances and traditional norms have definitely changed. Now you're all virtual all the time. And so you want to make sure that you're being prepared to continuously always be on. Mm-hmm. You got to be on all the time. Online doesn't mean off culture as well. Just because you're not in the office space, you still want to be professional, all the things that you do. So you want to definitely make sure that you keep that you're on and online all the time. Just like you are in the work environment traditionally, you want to make sure you're the same way online. Also, the standard communication channels are very different. You used to having those in-person meetings and resource accessibility, as well as your predictable career mobility. You're always working on trajectory outlined. So now you get into the new world order. Some of the things you have to do is adapt yourself to technology. You have to you find yourself mastering all the virtual platforms there are. So all the Zooms, the WebEx, you have to master those things. One of the things you want to show added value by developing platform nimbleness. So knowing the ins and outs of the platforms that you share, all these Zoom meetings that we're definitely taking place, you want to make sure that you're very acute in that particular platform. And then also you want to make sure you create your own mobility space. You want to display skills not traditional for the organization, so you want to develop the need. There's always a great thing that you want to do when you're in your workplace is to let them understand that there is a need for you and your position. And some of the other things that I would like to address is the fact that the employer's qualities and quality needs still remain the same in the workplace. They look for you to have effective communication skills, unwavering work ethic, flexibility regarding physical work environment, the agility to execute despite unpredictable chaos, and leadership. You also include the willingness to be led within the organization. And you always want to maintain a love of learning, always be a student of your particular workplace. And mentorship eagerness. I can say this, that always within your work environment, whatever your career path is to make sure that you have a mentor that leads you along your career path. I cannot say that enough. Mm-hmm. And also have a team mindset. There's always nothing about when you're working in a particular work environment that you want to work as a team. A team, as they always say, is you work together. When you work together as a team, you have better results. There's no I in team. And so you want to always make sure that you work as a team. You want to have a cultural competence. You want to always understand the cultural environment of the workplace. And then also you want to strategically network maintenance and growth. And you always want to open to different opportunities and not have a comfort zone. And then also you want to make sure that you always find a way or make one no matter what. One of the things that we're doing in this particular environment is that also if you have those entrepreneurial skills, I think you should kind of segue and understand and make use of those skills even during this quarantine time. For those we spoke about earlier about individuals being laid off, I think that's when that entrepreneurship gene come in, things that you can do in your spare time. I heard earlier, I think panelist Kimberly Kistner was talking about how you take advantage of those phone calls that you can do at home, versus being in the workplace. And so you definitely want to make sure you take advantage of those. Also, tips that I would always give is that one, that you want to always keep your options open. And when I say keeping your option open, meaning that based on what your career path or what your trajectory was in one particular career, always look to have the options of one, maybe moving into a different career path. You got to keep your options open. Also, if you're looking to find a mentor, as I spoke earlier, this will make a huge difference in your life and in your career. And then always keep updated. Keep all your information always updated. You want to check back with whatever your career plan and career path is. You want to always check back and say, hey, 3 or 4 years later, is this where I actually want to be? Is this what I dream of my career path to be? You want to always check in versus checking out. And so I think those particular items and those particular nuggets will help you pretty much go a long way. And I know we spoke about networking. Each of us talked about networking. And one of the things that you always want to do is always keep copies of your resume and always a business card. You want to make sure that you create a list of your connections. Also, you want to kind of investigate whatever those connections are. I think we talked about earlier, I think Alum Celestin even spoke about the whole networking, that being 80% of what you do. And also you want to do the research. As I stated earlier, you want to investigate who your particular networking community is. And then also contact who that connection is via email, via telephone call, always drop them a line. But one thing you want to make sure is that you want to be persistent, but not pushy. That's one thing you want to do. Be persistent, but not pushy, because what happens is you don't want, as it relates to your connection, you don't want to just continuously call on them all the time, but kind of, just drop in if you know their anniversary or something has come in, just to kind of make that connection, just to know that you're thinking about them, but also make sure that you keep that connection and always investigate the things and how they're moving along in your particular career path.
That is a great nugget right there. Being persistent, but not being pushy. I mean, a lot of us are still trying to figure out what that really means and how to balance that to this day. So thank you for talking about that, because a lot of us on this call need to know about that. Last but not least, what empowers you to wake up, pray up, log in, and level up?
Oh, you said it all in the
That was a good rhyme, wasn't it? We're going to put that on a t-shirt. I'll find a way to make one.
You pretty much put it all in one perspective, just in that sentence, because what gets me up is my faith and family, knowing that I have to get up and log in, because we're logging into the next day. And I thank God for each day that I'm able to breathe, and all of that, giving me the opportunity to be persistent. And me being an entrepreneur, we have our hours, so we work long hours. And so what pushes me to know that I have a family that I need to support, and that pushes me to log in. And when you say logging in, I just want to make sure that I have the right password, and not being said, try a new password, but the password is faith family, your faith family, and then your also your work. Yeah. And so when you're saying what motivates me, I look at more so from a motivation of my family and being able to wake up and thank God each day that I'm able to wake up and log in, and also do the work that needs to be done each and every day, not only to make a better community, but change the lives of many. And so that always pushes me to think about, each day that I wake up, I have an opportunity to make a difference in the world today. Thank you.
Yes.
Right.
Log in and then leveling up. We all are doing that each day that we take breath into our lungs. So thank you, Alumnus White, for breaking it down and for bringing your awareness to the team today. If you all have any questions for Alumnus White, please type them also into the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel now. We will be sure to get to them during our Q&A session, which is approaching. So thank you again to our alumni panelists for this insightful insightful gems that you all have released today and to go forth with. I know that I have been taking my notes. So, and I hope that everyone on this webinar has been doing so as well, because you all definitely dropped some really insightful gems and we are appreciated. We will go ahead now and take our time for questions. Just a reminder, please be sure to type those questions into the question box in your control panel. Now is the perfect time to engage with your alumni and your network. So it looks like we have a few questions.
Yes.
Let's go. Are y'all ready?
We're ready.
Ready to rock and roll. Okay, all right.
Do it.
So the first question goes to Alumnus Celestin. So you have quite a few alumni that are on this webinar that are interested in your books, and they thank you so much for your offer. How awesome. That is from alumna Erica May. And they would like for you to drop your email so they can bombard it just for a few seconds to get their free books, including your Office of Alumni Relations. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think I've provided that, and that'll be made. You can put it on the screen or whatever works.
Yes.
Because it's a reasonably long one.
Yes. So for everyone that is on the email today, that is on the call today, we will definitely provide you all with Alumnus Celestin's email, which is D as in Dawn, last name is Celestin, CELISTAN @comcast.net. And we will also provide that for you all in our post survey. So you will see that information as well, to where you can go directly to Alumnus Celestin and request a book. Cool? All right.
Sounds good.
Cool beans. So our next question is from alumna Imani Nash. Hey, Imani. That's one of our former Miss United Go College Funds and recent alum. Congratulations. Her question is open to all of our speakers. Would you say that it is vital to post and engage with other posts on LinkedIn as much as it is to network and make connections through the site? This is open to anyone that would like to take that question.
For me, I think it's absolutely necessary, and it gives you the opportunity for individuals in LinkedIn to know who you are and what you do, and making sure that actually gives you an opportunity to show what your communication skills are. I think that, this is definitely something that you'll want to do as it relates to topics. And I would say talk as much as you can. And so as you have different individuals, as stated earlier, you have different individuals on a look and see, they get Imani. I see Imani is addressing pretty much a lot of issues here. So it shows diversity as well, as that you can talk on different subject matters. And so I think you definitely take advantage of those particular topics that are in LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Alumnus White.
Would anyone
else like to tackle that question?
Yeah, I wanted to weigh in on that. There are some metrics on that subject, and I was in the top 10% in the metrics for sales and other things. And the way I do it is, and I'm only sharing my model, is I occasionally write articles. So I have a point of view, and I usually am very thoughtful about what I weigh in on. I try to weigh in on business subjects and subjects where I'm adding some expertise, because I'm not trying to make it a Facebook type weigh in. And there are many people who are weighing in on a whole host of subjects that are more akin to Facebook and other vehicles. But I'm trying to demonstrate my expertise so I can leverage that to hopefully get some business contacts and then lead to some actual business. So be thoughtful about your strategy. And I think having frequency can be great, particularly if you want to be seen. So I think the frequency is a good concept, but frequency on what? So make sure you're strategic in how you approach it. That would be my suggestion.
Thank you so much, Alumnus Celestin.
Can I chime in real quick? on
Okay.
that as well. Just not necessarily from a posting perspective, but from engaging. You got to also think about it from the algorithm standpoint. The more that you start liking and sharing things within interest areas of yourself on LinkedIn, it'll start to then send you more articles that are around the things that you're interested in. So that way you can engage in a different way that isn't necessarily you communicating, but more or less engaging with the actual system so that it sends you the things that you want or the things you're looking for that can help you move along in that progress as well. So
Thank you so much, Alumnus Moore. We did have a comment from alumnus Chris Hebron. He stated that he wants a signed copy. Okay, alumnus Dwayne.
Okay.
Signed copy. So I guess he's gonna frame it. Alumna Brandy Smith. This is also open to anyone that would like to tackle this question. She asked, is it necessary to go back to school when making a career shift?
I'll take that. I'm going to say no, it is not necessary. And the reason why I say that is because I went to school for mass media arts communications. And in my career path, working in communications, but then getting laid off so many times or whatever, while I was in a position where I was just taking a job just to have a job, a thing called change management came about, which I had no idea what the heck that was. And so I learned that, like, you have to go to school for that. So I didn't go back to school for change management. I learned that I had the skill sets that were transferable. So you might find a situation where your skill sets that you already have are transferable to whatever else you're looking into. So for me, change management was just an easy fix because basically you're communicating what's changing. So hence change management is just basically communication. Of course, there's methodologies to that. So I did go back and get certification so that people would look at me as more credible being a change manager, that because I had the certification. So no, you do not necessarily have to go back to school to change careers. Now, if I was going back trying to be a doctor, I'm gonna go ahead and say probably I need to go back to school for that. I'm a medical doctor.
Definitely. We're gonna take one more question for the afternoon, and the remainder we're going to answer them in the post survey. So please, if you have a question, do not feel left out. We will make sure that your questions will be answered. Our last question for this afternoon comes from alumna Dania Whitted, and this question is for alumnus Devin White. She said, the pandemic affected the event planning industry. What do you see happening with events?
What I see happening with events during this pandemic time is that more so from an event planner standpoint, a lot of events are going virtually. So you have to think virtual and how do you pretty much take advantage of that. And more so now it's, of course, you're not hands-on more so, you're more doing it in a virtual way. So it's more so of giving ideas of a way that individuals can, if it's raising money. I give a prime example of, for instance, there's been a lot of galas that have been canceled. And so therefore, you've come up with different type of events. So there's, from an event planning standpoint, you're putting out the ideas of saying, for instance, we can still do things such as online auctions to do fundraising for your particular company or your particular institution. And so I think you just have to come from an event standpoint to give them a different perspective until we open back up into the future. And so I think more so of as an event planner that you look more so of bringing a lot of ideas to a virtual aspect, and they're using more so of your particular skill level from an idea standpoint of what that event will look like, and how you will execute that particular event and how you gather people to be involved versus virtually versus the traditional face-to-face. And so that's what I see now. A lot of this is going virtually for the next probably within the next 6 to 10 months, planning a lot of things virtually.
I actually saw a virtual wedding, and it was actually pretty amazing. I mean, everybody was on Zoom. You know, it was like 100 people on Zoom, but it was pretty amazing how the event planner, staged that to be online. So thank you for that insight.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your questions, and thank you panelists for your answers. Please stay in contact with our alumni and look out for our upcoming webinars, which will take place every Thursday from noon until 1 p.m. Immediately following this webinar, you will receive a post survey along with the questions that were not answered today. We have not and will not forget about you. Please let us know what you think about today. Your feedback is truly appreciated. Do we have any closing words or advice before we depart for today, alums?
Yes.
One thing,
Go ahead,
ladies
Devin.
first. Go ahead,
Okay,
ladies
ladies
first.
first. Okay, so one thing I want to keep in mind is that it's about change. And right now we are in a disruptive time. And so understand this, that change is not always bad. And that keep in mind that change might make you uncomfortable, but when you're uncomfortable, that's a good thing because that means great things are going to happen. So you don't want to be afraid of that because if you don't change, you don't grow. So keep that in mind.
That's very true. Thank you, Alumna Kistner. If you don't mind, we would like to drop your social handles. If anyone would like to follow you or reach out to you for additional information, we will input that information into our post-survey information. And that goes for all of our alums that are on this panel, if you all do not mind.
Not at all.
Okay, awesome. Do we have any other closing words or advice before we depart for this evening? For this afternoon?
Yes, I did have something to say. I didn't say this earlier, but I know we've doing this, the perfect class of 2020. I'd be remiss if I didn't leave this call without wishing the class of 2020 a congratulatory. I know I said this during your commencement time, but I can't congratulate you enough and say that during these times that we definitely appreciate you and love you and look forward to working with you in this upcoming year, especially with the Alumni Association. I want you to take advantage of everything that we have to offer. And one of the things I didn't mention is our professional development workshop series that we've started. And one of our first sessions talked about the 5 steps that you take in a job search during a pandemic crisis. And so we'll have more sessions coming up that you can take advantage of. But I do want to say on behalf of the Alumni Association that we congratulate you and look forward to you in this society, bringing not only your time and your talent, but also returning your treasures back to your alma mater. And so please visit us at www.cauaa.org if there's anything that we can do for you and assist you. Thank you.
And that is also, alums, if you're on the call today, where you can pay your dues and renew your dues. So please, please, please join the Alumni Association and also look at the upcoming, well, not the upcoming, but the affiliates that the Alumni Association has. So if you're in the Atlanta, look into joining the DeKalb or the Atlanta chapter or Athens chapter, or, you know, whichever chapter is close to you. Give back. Doesn't necessarily mean financial, but give back until you can give back financially.
Take that time and that talent.
Exactly.
Hey, I had one thought I wanted to share. I think at this point, being an African-American professional is probably the best time ever. I've been contacted by a number of organizations for different things, and the sensitivity is great right now. So I think being aggressive and making yourself available in the right areas. Again, if it's a food service business, their business is soft and they aren't going to be hiring to the same degree as another type of business. But there's certainly a higher interest now in who we are and the talent we've generated out of CAU. So don't be shy, be aggressive about pursuing opportunities, and they're there to be had. I wish you all a luck.
Thank you, Alumnus Elliston.
I would just say for everyone on the call, one, just thank you for coming and listening to all of us. And I would say the last word is to just dream and do it. You know, the motto of the university is one for a reason. Clark Atlanta has always been a place for trailblazers, but a place for dreamers. We come out and we can do whatever we want to do. So utilize the motto to help you figure out whatever that is that you want to do, that dream, and then utilize the things we talked about today to go ahead and grab that.
In the words of Alumnus Moore, dream, but stop those DMs. Because we are a high commodity right now. So if you're smart, you know how to get to what you want. So great. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you all being here. Special thanks to my colleague, the Senior Director of Alumni Relations, Mrs. Galen Gatewood Josho, Dr. Rhodes for her stellar service, and to our wonderful panelists for an exceptional job today. We cannot thank you enough. Thank you again to our awesome attendees for joining us today, and we will see you next Thursday at noon for our upcoming Lunch and Learn. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you.